what the is going to be. I open my mouth, I shall go, what the is going to be. I open my mouth, and I I shall what the is going to be.
Best-selling author and award-winning journalist, Mitzi Miller has been at the helm of Jet Magazine since 2011. Within 2 short years, her vision of revamping the Ionic 62-year-old brand was realized with a successful cover-to-cover redesign, new web launch, improved social media presence, and consistent media coverage of buzz-worthy stories featuring in its pages. After majoring in English in Florida A&M University, Miller began her career at Honey Magazine, where she grew from intern to entertainment editor. She later became the associate relationship editor at Jane Magazine and editor-in-chief at Jet Magazine. The New York native has co-authored 5 popular books over the past decade: The Vow, a novel, The Angry Black Woman's Guide to Life, and 3 titled Hot Atlanta Young Adult Series. A frequent public speaker, Miller delivered the keynote address at the 2011 Florida A&M University Homecoming Convocation, the 2012 National Black MBA Association's annual conference, and the 2013 Kmart Black History Month event. Miller has been a featured guest on several national television programs, including ABC's Good Morning America, TV's One's New 101 Now with Roland Martin, MSNBC's Melissa Harris Perry, and CNN's CNN Newsroom. For her professionalism and passion, Miller's recent accolades include recognition among the Roots 100 honorees for 2013, Florida A&M University's 125 outstanding alumni of the Quincentennial, and Crane's Change Business Magazine's 2011 40 Under 40 Rooster. I introduce to some and present to others our distinguished Black History Month speaker, Ebony Magazine Editor-in-Chief, Ms. Missy Miller.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. What a good welcome. Chancellor Alexander, Ms. Mayor, thank you for coming out. Esteemed faculty, alumni, students, and guests, thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this forum this morning to share in your annual Black History Month celebration. It is such a pleasure to be here this morning. I have to tell you, when I left Chicago, it was, I don't know, right, in the teens. We had about 19.5 inches of snow. I was dressed like the Michelin Man. You know, I had on all these layers. I was walking around like this, and now look, I'm like in a dress. You know. So I thank you all. I thank you. But no, seriously, it is truly an honor to be here, especially during Black History Month. Because even though I'm sure a majority of you, like myself, celebrate Black History Month every day of the year, okay? It is nice to see the contributions of our community celebrated. You know, what we have done for and continue to do for the American culture, there are not enough words. I think it's safe to say that we make America better.
That's right.
Okay? We do together. But even more so, I tell people all the time, my favorite part of my job is not making the magazines, it's not being on television, it's not even writing the books. It's getting to come out and speak to my community. It's getting to come out and speak to individuals like myself, progressive people of color, progressive people, period. Because together, we are the future. And so I truly, from the bottom of my heart, am full of gratitude. So, but I'm not going to deliver a history speech today. No worries. I'm going to keep it short and keep it sweet. What I am going to do is tell you a little bit about myself, my journey, and share 4 lessons that I've learned along my way. And then I'm going to open up for questions. Keep it simple. So, how many of you guys, and I'm talking with the students, coming in freshman year, how many of you guys knew what you wanted to be when you graduate? How many of you guys know? For sure. The minute you got on campus knowing. Okay. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. I have to tell you, you're much better than me. When I showed up on the campus of Florida A&M, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was a biology major because in my mind, I was like, yeah, I want to be a large animal vet. I want to work with horses. Don't ask me where I got that from. Please don't ask me. I just, you know, I was like, I'm going to work with horses and dolphins. I was all over the place. But then I went to my first biology class at 8 o'clock in the morning. And not only was it at 8 o'clock in the morning, but the professor informed us that at some point very soon, we were going to have to prick our fingers and look at our own blood. And I was like, oh, no, this isn't for me. How much longer do I have to switch out of this class? We got to change majors. Not now, but right now. So I quickly went from being a biology major after that first struggling semester to becoming an English major. Because I had to figure out what I could do that no matter what, I loved it. That no matter what time the class was, no matter how hard the assignment was, I was going to be excited about it. And for me, that was English, because one thing that has remained true throughout my life is that I love to read, and I love to tell stories. But being an English major doesn't necessarily say, oh, I'm gonna be rich. So I had to figure out what I was gonna do with that English major. So I was like, okay, well, I think I'll teach. You know, share my love of English. And it made sense. And it was finally something that I could give my mom that would, you know, calm her nerves, because every time I talked to her, she was like, I sent you all the way to Tallahassee, Florida for you to fool around. This is what I did. You can come home and do this. You don't have to be all the way down in Florida. I was like, Mom, but there's no band in Connecticut. And there's no 100, so I have to stay here. So I thought I had it figured out, which is a nice feeling, right? But then my senior year, I caught a cold, or at least what I thought was the flu. And it lingered. But you know, when you're a college student, you're invincible. And you think cranberry juice and Robitussin cures everything. Like, I'm gonna be great. But it didn't go away. So at the advice of a friend, I finally went to the clinic. Not the on-campus clinic, because nobody goes to the on-campus clinic. Finally went and saw a doctor at urgent care. And drew about, I would say, 5 vials of blood, right? And then charged me $300. It's like, oh, sir, I don't have health insurance. I just turned 21. This is before Obamacare. I will not be returning here. I hope you cure cancer with whatever you found. And I go home, I go back to being a 21-year-old in her last semester of college, and then I receive a call from the nurse at the urgent care. And she said, Miss, you know, your results were a little extreme and the doctor'd like you to come back in. And I shared with her what I just told you. No. I was like, yeah, you just charged me $300. You need to just write a prescription right about now. She was like, okay, well, I'll tell the doctor what you said, because I'm hard-headed, I'm mitzy. I'm like, hey, this will be fine, it's all gonna blow over. Called back about an hour later. Hi, so the doctor's gonna waive the fee. Waive the fee? Lord, I must be dying. I was like, so I called my mom and she was like, no, calm down, I'm sure it'll be fine. Just go take the test. So I return, I take another set of tests, and go back again to being a senior last semester, and we all know what that means. When you finish all your required classes and you're doing things like basket weaving 101 and aerobics and just trying to kill time until you make it to Mardi Gras. Yeah, so called with the results, and it wasn't a blip. I was sick, and they needed to do some additional tests immediately. So now I'm like, okay, so you want to do an ultrasound? I think I should call home and talk about it. Once again, my mom is the voice of reason. She's all like, calm down, you're too emotional, you're such a Scorpio, just go take the test, call me when it's over. I go, I take the test. Miss, we've found water on your stomach, and we think it could be cancer. Okay, this changes everything. It's not that cute anymore. I still didn't give up my reservations for Mardi Gras, but it wasn't quite as funny. Then took some more tests. My mom actually flew down. And this is the days, now y'all might not know about this, some of you, but this was before you could just buy your cheap ticket online. This is when you actually had to go to the airport and commit to it. You had to buy it in person. My mom flew down the next day. I guess it was a little bit more serious than she thought. And I had a CAT scan. And when I came out of the test, I woke up because I was so sick that I fell asleep inside of the machine because I kept falling asleep. And what I found out when I came out, aside from everybody in the room crying and me being like, well, what's going on? They were like, I don't know how to say this, but you have the liver of a 60-year-old male alcoholic. I was like, oh, I mean, I know I've been having a good time, but let's not get crazy. Sorry. And he was like, no, really, you're gonna need a liver transplant. You're gonna need to leave school right now. And my response, because you know I'm mitzy and I'm hard-headed and I'm a Scorpio, I was like, oh no, because I have a hotel reserved for Mardi Gras, so I can't go have a liver transplant right now. I was like, what can we do to hold on? He was like, no, you have to go right now. And I was like, well, I'll tell you what, I'll go home and think about it. And it was like from the doctor's mouth to God's ear. Like literally not even 24 hours later, I wound up in the hospital. And I spent a week there. And during that week, obviously, things got very real for me, and I got it. I was sick. I was diagnosed with autoimmune hepatitis, which is a genetic disorder, and I had to go home. And when I got back to New York, I was put on the waiting list. But, you know, as an added bonus, I'm gonna ask the hard questions. I said, so what are we looking at here? What are we really looking at? And he was like, no, it'll be okay. I was like, no, 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 tell me the truth. What are we really looking at? And the doctor said 3 months. You got 3 months. And I was like, oh, sir, you don't know me. I was like, you don't know Mitzi. And so I defied the odds. I showed him who I was. I'm a headstrong young lady who is about living and wasn't ready to go because I was 21. So I didn't just make it 3 months. I made it 18 months and got my liver transplant. Thank God. Thank God. So this is my second time in life, and I'm all about living it, like being in the moment, being present, and living it like it's life, like it might not be here tomorrow. And so I'm here to kind of tell you about that, tell you about why it's important to think of things like that, and not be sad, because there's nothing about my journey that I would wish on my worst enemy, but I wouldn't take it back for the world. Because what I went through makes me a better person. What I went through makes me grateful for the decisions that I've made. And what I went through is why I'm standing here today talking to you guys. So part of being, you know, the journey is trying to figure out now, I'm a liver transplant survivor, yay, but this also means I can no longer teach kids because I can't be in a room full of germy little kids. I'm immune suppressed. So what am I gonna do with my life? I got this great English degree, which basically means I'm trainable, but I don't have any tangible skills. So I'm like, okay, well, everybody's going into marketing. I'm about to go into marketing. That's what I'm gonna do. I get a job in sales and marketing, and I hate it. Ooh, Lord, I am not a numbers person. I was miserable for 9 months, toiling away. And then finally, my boyfriend said to me, the guy I was dating at the time, why would you stay somewhere that you're this unhappy? There's no check that's worth your unhappiness. You don't want a job, you want a career. And so I left. I jumped ship, turned in the resignation letter, and I was out. I didn't say I had a plan, I just said I was out. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm not recommending that for any of you, but I'm just telling you this is what I did. And for about 6 months, I interviewed everywhere, trying to figure it out. And then one night, because you know, God works in mysterious ways, I'm trying to get into a party. Because sometimes your best thinking happens in parties, let's be honest. Sometimes you gotta be in the mix for it to come to you. I'm trying to get into a club, and I see the editor-in-chief of my favorite magazine coming out of the club. Now, mind you, I was focused on getting in, you heard that part, I was like on the bouncer. But my girlfriend, God bless her heart, tapped me very hard on my shoulder and was like, hey, there's Amy DuBois Barnett, editor-in-chief of Honey Magazine. You need to go get an internship so that we can get free magazines. See, she didn't really care about my career. Sometimes your friends are about self, but you gotta take the blessing from anywhere you can get it. So once I was like, girl, I am focused on this bouncer. I am trying to get, she was like, you don't go get me some free magazines. So I took off behind Amy. And I'm not talking about like walking quickly. I ran after her. Like, see that? That's what she heard, coming at her in the dark in New York City. Exactly. So you imagine the look on her face. But I will say, once I got there, I realized that this was my moment. And so I was like, hi, I'm Mitzi. You don't know me, but I'm gonna be a star. Hey, you gotta believe your own hype, right? I was like, and so, you know, you should let me come intern for you. Because when I blow up, I don't want to have to tell stories about how you tried to diss me back in the day. Now see what you're doing? That's exactly what she did to me. Laughed. But see, you're polite. You're like, hey. She was like, ah, like wide open mouth laughing at me. But when she stopped laughing, she gave me her business card and said, call me in the morning. So at 8:59, I was on my phone, not the kind of phone that you have now with the cute little soft. I was on my mom's phone with the finger in the rotary dial, dialing and redialing and redialing until somebody picked up. And when they did, I convinced them to let me come in and interview. Amy said there might be an internship and I'm the person that you need. And by the grace of God, somebody messed up some kind of way, and they agreed to let me come and be a summer intern. Listen, all they had to do was crack the window. That's all they gotta do. Let me get my toe in the door. I worked 7 days a week as intern. I mean, I was in there when nobody was in there. I had to teach myself how to write for a magazine. Because I'm a reader and a writer, but I wasn't a journalism major. I'd never worked on the school newspaper. So I had to read magazines, figure it out, learn on my feet, which is what the majority of us have to do. Fake it till you make it. Okay? But I did it. They let me in and I never left. At the end of the summer, I convinced them to let me stay on. Oh, I'll be a consultant, don't worry about it, I got you. A couple months later, they gave me a column, and the rest is history. I was at Honey for 2.5 years. I left there and went to Jane, which at the time was a mainstream publication. Now it's XO Jane, I believe is the website, but the print version of that back in the day. Amazing experience there for 2.5 years. And then I turned 30 years old, thought I knew everything, and decided I wanted to be my own boss. So I was like, yeah, I'm about it here. You know, this little thing called a recession was happening, but that didn't stop me, don't worry about it. I was like, I got a couple, at this point, I had met my co-authors, Angela Burt Murray, the former editor-in-chief of Essence, who was working with me at Honey, and Deneen Milner, who is now a mommy blogger, but at the time worked at Honey with me, and we had written, you know, a couple of books. So with these books under my belt, and the experience in magazine, I felt like I could do it all. Because that's what, you know, sometimes you feel in yourself, and as you should, and I wanted to be my own boss. Stepped out on faith, and for 6 years, that's what I did. And I have to tell you, again, another decision that I would suggest people think out a little bit more clearly than I did, but I don't regret it at all. I hustled. I worked like I never worked before. People love the idea of being a boss, but it is very different when you're actually a boss. You never go to sleep. I had a 1-bedroom in New York. Listen, my 1-bedroom in the hood became just an office. Every part of it became a work zone. There was no off time, but I loved it. I loved what I was doing. I got to write books, I got to write for magazines, I got to write screenplays, I got to explore all kinds of opportunities. And then one day, while I'm minding my business, sitting on the couch trying to figure out where else am I gonna get a check to keep the lights on, because that's what you do as a boss, I got a call from my old boss. And Amy at the time was the editor-in-chief of Ebony. And she said, hey, Bitsy, how are you? I was like, I'm good. What's going on? She said, nothing. So, what do you think about Chicago? I don't. I was like, I heard y'all had a bad winter. I'm good. How you doing? She was like, no. I mean, weather aside. I was like, no. I heard about those 9 feet of snow. Don't try to trick me. It's okay. She was like, no, really, Nancy. There might be an opportunity at Jet Magazine. And I literally was like, are you serious? And she was like, and I think, honestly, you are the right person. Watching you all these years, I think that you're the one that needs to be here. It was such an amazing moment, such a turnkey moment, having someone that I'd worked for think that I'd done such an amazing job over the years that I would be worthy of this amazing position. But this amazing position was in Chicago, and my amazing life was in New York. So there was a bit of a leap there. And another Mitzi fact, I am a big mama's girl. Me and my mom, thick as thieves. I mean, I love my dad, he's great and all, no shade to the fathers, but me and my mom, we like A and B. So, the idea of moving away from my family, from my friends, was terrifying. But what I realized is, to achieve greatness, you have to step out on faith. You can't climb the ladder till you let go of the rung that you're on. And so I said, all right, I'll do it. and I interviewed, and I have to tell you, there was nothing like it. It was so exhilarating the first time I saw Desiree Rogers in person. I mean, flawless. But when I got the offer, and I realized, like, this is the beginning of something huge. This is not just a new adventure, this is a turning point. There was nothing like it. So I packed up and I moved my whole life to Chicago in May of 2011. And I've been there ever since, working hard, turning things around. Your SGA president was kind enough to tell you about the redesign that I did at JET, one of the proudest moments of my life. But then, I guess about 9 months ago, what was it, April, May, June? June, I got the offer to start at Ebony. Completely unexpected. Amy told me that she was moving on to go check out California and see what was good with film and television. I was like, don't leave me here. She was like, no, it might turn out okay for you. And go figure. They asked me to lead Ebony. And it's been a ride. Again, learning on my feet. But I'm so thankful to the universe, and I'm so ready, and I stay ready, because that's what you have to do when you want amazing things to come into your life. So, with that said, that's me, a little overview of my journey. And now I want to share a couple lessons that I learned along the way. Lesson 1, always walk to the front of the line. Okay? Time is precious. You don't get it back. There will never be another moment like today. Today is gone and it's a memory. Don't wait for someone to call your name or help you figure out the next step. Do your research, identify what you need, figure out who's in charge, and then head to the front of the line. Confidence coupled with preparedness is everything. I got into the media industry because I saw the editor-in-chief of Honey coming out of a party. If I hadn't jumped on that moment, if I hadn't rolled up on her, whether it was crazy or not, I wouldn't be here today. You have to listen. And let me clarify, I am not advocating acting crazy. I am not advocating running people down, but I am saying that if you wait, you might miss your moment. So be smart, be ready, and make it happen. Lesson 2, hustle till it hurts. Earning a college degree can be exhausting, okay? I am the last person who will ever discount the hard work that's required to get out of undergrad, to get out of grad school. I'm the last one, trust. But it doesn't entitle you to anything. No one owes you squat. Nobody's waiting to give you nada. You have to be willing to put in the work, even when it's not glamorous. Even when it is hard, even when you don't want to get up, you still have to keep going. You have to stay focused on your long-term goals. And I hate to be the one to break it to you, the all-nighters, they don't stop just because you graduate. Trust and believe. A lot of us out there, myself included, are pulling 14, 15-hour days to keep it going. But we're doing it because we love what we're doing. And there's value in the trenches. There's value in the work. Because I started as an intern and worked my way up, I'm confident in my ability to get my job done. I'm confident that I understand every facet of what I'm doing. And once you have that confidence, no one can take it away from you. I know that I can do anything if you give me a chance. And you should know that too. Work hard and work smart. You should always be trying to figure out how to make more out of what you already have. I'm not just a journalist, I'm not just an editor or an author. In addition to putting out an issue of Ebony every month, my novel, The Vow, that I wrote 10 years ago, just got turned into a Lifetime original movie called With This Ribbon. I'm excited, 10 years is a long time. But it never stops, and that's what happens when you don't give up. And it's all about constantly creating new opportunities so that you're never shut out. Lesson number 3, it's all about who you know. Networking is what makes the world go round. And I know everybody knows that social media has taught us that. But it's common knowledge that a door opens faster to a friend than to a stranger. You can never know too many people, but with those connections comes a responsibility. You have to constantly manage your image and the impression that you make on people. It doesn't matter how nice you are, how tight your resume is. If you're inappropriate, if you can't get a good letter of recommendation, if you don't leave a good taste in people's mouth when you meet them, you're not getting hired, and they're not helping you, even if they smile in your face. Look to your left. Now look to your right. See those people sitting beside and all around you? Those are the people that years from now are going to break out and change the world. Those are the people you're going to have to rely on for just a little bit of insider information, for help finding out when jobs are really opening up. So think about how you treat other people today. Because the young lady or the young man that you're ignoring or blowing off or not treating nicely might be in a position to hire you or help you. Get to know one another. Because being a lion is not just about wearing black and gold, okay? Or doing your bid in Pine Bluff till you get out of here, okay? It's about being part of a family. Attending an HBCU is about being part of a family. And trust me when I tell you, HBCUs are like Brooklyn. We are in the house everywhere. We are constantly in the house, all right? Anytime you need a friend, anytime you need help, there will be someone within spitting distance that attended an HBCU. And I'll tell you God's honest truth, I am always looking to help out someone that comes from HBCU. That's what we do. Whether you attended FAM, whether you attended Howard, Spelman, University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff, if you are a part of my HBCU family, I am here for you. And last but not least, lesson 4. And this is the most important one. Life is for the living. Let me repeat that again. Life is for the living. I mentioned earlier that I had been diagnosed with the terminal disease that required a liver transplant. What I didn't really emphasize, and I kind of, joke about, is the fact that I had, I was on my way to Mardi Gras. I never made it to Mardi Gras. But that was my first time. So because I had waited, because I had put everything off until my last semester of college, I missed out on so much. Granted, I lived those first 3.5 years, don't get pricey. But there were still things that I wanted to do. And when I was sick, I wasn't saying, oh, I wish I had scored higher on that exam. Oh, I wish I had, put in more hours at the library, although doing your work is important. The things that I miss were time spent with my friends, time spent with my family, having conversations with my parents. Though that was what was important. That's what I was putting a lot of emphasis on. I went from playing on the softball team for FAMU to lying in the hospital for months. Just like that, waiting on that transplant. You can't get, again, any of these moments back. So be present. Be here. Learn as much as you can. Constantly ask questions. Take advantage of every opportunity to increase your knowledge. Now is the time to try, to fail, to try again, and to win. You have to be fearless. You are absolutely in the right place right now. You made the right choice. Get everything that you can from it. You should prepare for the future. But don't waste your time and energy worrying about it. There's nothing you can do about it. It's coming regardless. Instead, have so much fun. Have so much fun. Go on road trips. Take your parents out for the day. Be nice to your siblings. Take an extra moment to tell your girl or your guy friend, yo, that outfit, that's hot. Make somebody's day, smile. Go overseas for a semester. I can't encourage you enough to explore while you're a student. Throw a ridiculous house party before you leave. Whatever you do, be relentless in your pursuit of your dreams. I encourage each and every one of you, every single day, to remember this. You wake up with an option, right? Every time you open your eyes, you wake up with two options. You can either be complacent and accept life as is, and okay, it's another day, let me get dressed, let me get moving. Or you can be grateful, you can be excited, and you can be relentless in pursuit of happiness. Relentless in pursuit of living a joyful life. Relentless in pursuit of being and doing everything that you want, because it's all possible. So personally, I encourage you to go option B. Choose happy. Choose happy. So in closing, because I know I'm probably running a little long, I just want to challenge each of you to lead an amazing life. Even if you're not a student anymore, start tomorrow. Every day is a new opportunity to start again. And don't be the people you see, be better. Thank you.
Now we're going to open the floor for questions.
Good afternoon.
What part of New York are you from? What high school did you go to? And what do your parents do?
Okay. I was born and raised in Stamford, Connecticut. I graduated from Mount Vernon High School. My mother currently still resides in Mount Vernon. My dad is in Connecticut. They're still the best of friends though, no worries. And you said, what was the last question?
What do your parents do?
Oh, they're both retired and having the best time in life at it. My mom makes retirement look so good. I'm like, really? You're out salsa dancing with your girls? But my dad's doing the same thing. It's like in his garden, whatever that is. So my dad was a mechanic, and my mom was a nurse anesthesiologist.
You mentioned Brooklyn, New York.
I did, because we're everywhere. I have a lot of family in Brooklyn.
Do you know Jay-Z?
I have met Jay-Z. I have. And he's just as fantastic in person, I assure you. I love that he asked me about Jay-Z.
I noticed that you have taken your afflictions and you made them lessons and you took them and made them effective tools to the fruition of your calling. What is your advice to a student who does not know exactly what they'd like to do, and how could they channel that into work?
So what I did in college, and I recommend this to everyone, is go on as many internships as possible. Because internships aren't just amazing opportunities to do what you think you want to do, they're also great ways to cross out what you don't want to do. So I interned on Wall Street. Yeah, that wasn't for me. I was a congressional intern. I interned in Congress. DC is a great party city. Congress wasn't for me. I interned overseas in Japan on a naval base, working at a daycare. Babies are not necessarily for me either, in mass quantities. So I think ultimately you have to listen to your heart, and you have to figure out what you really want to do. We spend, and I think all of the working people in this room will agree, about 80% of our lives working. We're on the job. So if you don't enjoy what you do, it is going to be a hard way to go to have a wonderful life. I'm not saying it's not possible. And God bless the people that are able to kind of like shut it off at the end of 5 o'clock and that's it. But I have just found personally the majority of the people that I know that feel like they're leading a very fulfilled life truly enjoy what they do for a living. So if you truly are unsure, you probably just need to figure out what do you like doing and how can you monetize that.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm a mass communications major, but I'm sure somebody needs to hear that. Thank you.
Well, fair enough. And I hope to hear from you one day too. Hi.
My name is D.S. Grant, and I'm an English education major here
Well,
at the
hello.
university. Hello. And I found a lot of similarities in me and you, and I just really enjoyed what you said, and I take heed to everything that you said. The first thing that I wrote down is always walk to the front of the line.
Yes,
So I'm
ma'am.
here at the front of the line, and I
You are.
would love to have an internship at every.
Afterwards to talk to you about it. I don't know how you're gonna follow that. Right, I'm just like, she might have ruined it for everybody.
I'm not going to try. Congratulations. But anyhow, I watched With This Ring, I think it aired like last week or so. Anyhow,
did.
I enjoyed it.
Yay.
And I was wondering if you were working on any upcoming projects.
I'm always working on something.
Can you tell us some of the projects you might have?
Well, you know, I'm working on, obviously, the next issue, that's Ebony. That's always a project. I'm working on a new book proposal, a solo book proposal. And I'm talking to people in television and film. We're hoping that enough people watched the movie and enjoyed it that it might be turned into a series. So. Good morning.
Good morning. I met you outside. My name is Tisha.
I remember.
Yes.
The voice of the campus.
Absolutely. Thank you. Two questions. I saw a video that you did, a speech you did on YouTube where you talked about you're already looking for your next replacement at Ebony. So my question is, what does that person need to possess? And then I guess the follow-up question is, you know, after the book, are there any other, maybe some acting?
There'll be no acting. Although my mom does say I'm a natural born comedian. In terms of always looking for a replacement, what I meant by that statement is that I'm always looking to help the next journalist or person interested in getting into journalism. I think it's my job to share my lessons and encourage people along their way. Like, sometimes you'll meet people that are unwilling to help and mentor, and I think that kind of goes against, for me personally, that goes against the natural order of things. I'm not gonna be here forever. So my hope is that someone qualified and ready will take my place. And, the next project's ready? Yeah. Okay.
Well, one last question. You said, because I've watched a lot of videos.
Clearly.
So you talked about working 7 days a week, and just give,
Yes.
you know, faculty, staff, students a glimpse of what that means. You said you worked hard, and I don't know if people understand exactly the trenches that you went to. So give us a kind of what your day looks like.
Well, you know, my days differ. I mean, depending if I'm in the office or if I'm traveling, I can be in the office. I generally start on my cell phone, checking email. No later than 8 o'clock, I'm on email. And whenever I get to the office, I'm there all day. I rarely take a lunch unless I'm meeting with someone. Meetings, lots of meetings. I do budgets, numbers, more numbers than I probably ever wanted to do. Planning, a lot of thinking, a lot of not internal work in terms of it's not about Mitzi. My job is about delivering a product that works for the readers. So it's forecasting what will people be interested in 2 months from now. It's dealing with staff issues, juggling people's personalities, making sure we're all doing our work while we're getting along, and let's play nice, and I know you're having a bad day, but don't snap at such and such, and okay, and you know, there's a lot, but I love it all because I love what I do. I travel, I would say I travel about an average of 3 weekends a month, so I'm not home as much as I'd like to be. So it's a lot of on the move, but there's no complaining. This is what I do, right? This is what I do, and this is what I want to do. But it is a lot of on the move. There's not a lot of downtime, but that's okay. My friends and my family understand, and like I said, this won't last forever, because nothing does. But while I'm here, I'm gonna ride it till the wheels fall off. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Shelley Gardner. I'm a biology major here at the university. And I just had a question. Because of your work, are there any limitations on your personal or social life?
I think the limitations are set by me. I'm the one that chooses to work that hard. I have not done as good of a job as I needed to in terms of balance, but that doesn't mean that someone couldn't do my job and have more balance. I am always working on it. I don't believe the idea of work-life balance is really accurate. I think it's work-life integration for those of us who are able to work at something that we love. So it's never going to be 50-50, but I don't have any complaints. I definitely am meeting guys, if that's what you're worried about. No concerns there. I'm out and about. Very happy. But, you know, would I like to take more vacations? Sure. But there's work to be done. And there'll be days for vacation.
Thank you.
Prime Minister. My name is Myrtle Curry, and I graduated here in 1956. I'm a firm believer, being 80 plus, that age is no factor in our lives. I see people every day because I'm a regular whatever with people. I don't meet a stranger. And every time I'm in conversation with the information that I get out, they say, you need to write a book. When I was in graduate school, because you need to. And my question to you, if I do write that book,
Is it going to be
if I were to write that book,
when you write the book?
what could I bring it to you to edit?
You should absolutely send it in. Please submit it, and the editor that handles the life section will review it. But when you write your book, please send it to me because I'm sure you have a lot of stories that I want to hear about.
Well, you shouldn't give me a card now.
No, but listen, I'm going to be here. They have a whole day planned for me, thanks to the good deed. So I'm going to be around.
When my book comes to Chicago, oh, she's back in New York. And we don't have a
Listen.
foreign address.
Hey, life is full of adventures, but I'll leave a note if I'm not there for them to review. Okay? I don't know how long you're going to take. And I have to listen. I mean, age is nothing but a number, but we have to jump at opportunities when they come. So I'm always open to life.
I've heard that before.
Have you heard it?
Thank you. God bless you.
Hello again. My name is Brianna Williams, and I just have a simple question. What motivates you?
Happiness. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't. I mean, life has its ups and downs, but the idea of living with regret scares me. I never want to find myself in a position where I wish I had. I forgot to. If I didn't do it, it's because I really didn't want to do it, not because I couldn't.
Thank you.
Yep.
We do want to thank Ms. Missy Miller for being our keynote speaker for the Black History Month. Please give her a round of applause. And as a very sincere appreciation to this opportunity, we just want to give you a token of appreciation. Thank you. Squeezing it, okay?
Okay, well, let's open the bag.
But it will remind you of our university, so thank you so much.
Oh, yay! Okay, so I got a scarf, which is gorgeous because it's freezing in Chicago, so perfect. Well played. Oh, I love it! Yay! Thank you. Thank you. All kinds of goodies. Well, thank you all so, so much. Thank you for taking your time to come listen. And happy Black History Month, everybody.
As we come to the conclusion of our program, we'd like to thank everyone for coming out to help us support our Black History Month. We invite you to come to our upcoming programs that will be hosted by the Office of Student Involved Leadership and throughout the campus environment. I've enjoyed being your mistress ceremony on today. Thank you, Ms. Miller, for your wonderful message. Now we will have Mr. Stephen Howard lead us as we sing the Negro National Anthem.
Would you please stand and join me in singing the Negro National Anthem? Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmony of has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.